Hi guys, welcome to Jackie with a Q. How's everybody doing? Jack Squad, everybody, how's everybody doing? I'm so excited to talk to you guys. I haven't talked to you guys in a few weeks, and that's due to the current events that's going on in our country, right? I thought it would be, I wanted to give respect to the situation. I wanted to see, initially I wanted to see how it played out. And I saw that, and I'm proud of Black America. I must say that I'm very proud of Black America. And so I steered away from doing videos, but now it's weighing heavy on my heart to talk about it, right? So I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about my life these next couple of videos. I'm going to talk about current events, Black current events, okay? That's very important to me because I've seen police brutality lots of times, especially as a child growing up, right? It was just something that happened. The boys came home and talked about it, and that was that. Okay, so now it's years later, right? And so now they're picking us off like we're target practice, right? Men and women, and it's all over the country. It's very brutal. Taking a life is never okay. Never okay, right? So I got a lot of things to talk about, guys. You'll see me look down because I have my notes, because I've been writing on this for since it happened. I've been, jotting stuff down that I wanted to say when the time was right to say it. So again, thanks for tuning in to Jackie with a Q. And I just want to talk about the movement. I am so happy. I am elated that we are in a movement, right? Now, nothing has been seen like this since the 60s, right? I was a little girl then. But this is a movement. Now, let me say this. I'm going to say this right off the top so you can stop watching, whatever. I have to say this because we have been violated for so long. We've been violated for so long. And I even have a story to tell. I have quite a few stories to tell about it. But it's time to stop. It's time for that to stop. And these people of power need to know that we have power. We have power if we use it, right? We have power by numbers, right? As you see, every state in the union protested, right? Now you can say what you want to say about it, violent, good, bad. It got the message across. And they need to know that there will be protests, whether they're good or bad, from now on when you do something, right? They are united. And that's, I think, due to for us having social media, for everything to be televised, everything, we can organize, we can spread the word out, we can unify all through social media. I have gotten a lot of requests, that if you know a black business, put it on, tell somebody, a certain organization or a certain group of people about the black-owned businesses, because we're going to support. Now listen, we want to support black businesses, right? But black businesses, you need to give us good service, okay? We're going to support you. We are going to support you. Every date, something went around about the dates that don't do this and I'm abiding by all of that. I'm down with all of that. I am not, whatever that they say, we're unified. I'm with it. Black power, right? Because you can't keep killing these people. And what really got me, the fact that they killed the guy, George Floyd, we're going to say his name, George Floyd. The fact that they killed him like that in front of everyone, like with no cares, and this white privilege has to stop. It just has to stop, And I started noticing it when Trump was in running for office. I knew that he was going to win just based on the way the people of non-color were acting. They were acting privileged, right? And I used to be an Uber driver, so I saw people from all walks of life, right? And I knew, as I was dropping these folks off at all these political parties and carrying on, and watching how, I worked at a place. I worked at this with this insurance group, right? And this lady, my coworker, she came to me real strong, right? Like real strong. Now, mind you, I hadn't worked in 10 years, so I'm really not even used to being around people. I'm only used to being around people who want to be around me, and we're going to leave it like that. I was used to being around people who I, benefited from and wanted to be around me, right? So, you know, I'm on the phone conducting business, being the professional that I am. And she said something. I didn't hear her because I'm on the phone. And she said something else, and I didn't hear her. So when I got off the phone, I said, what did you say? And I knew it was aggressive by her body movements, right? Now, I knew it was aggressive. And so I said, what did you say? Now, mind you, we at work. Got to conduct ourselves a certain kind of way. So she was aggressive. Well, you heard what I said, and you know her body movements and the tone and everything. And I was like, oh my, right? So now she didn't know that she was dealing with a real, no matter what I look like, my insides, my heart, you can get it. You can get it, right? So I said, you know, I'm going to try to do this diplomatically because I need my job. You know, I had just got out of a relationship. I hadn't worked in a long time. I need this job, right? So she went on, and before I knew it, and she was saying all kind of powerful stuff, like, lady, do you know I was slapped the taste out your mouth, right? And now I can't even think. I don't even know what's going on. I can't even focus because, you know, if I get into it, I don't argue with people. I'm happy. And if I argue with you, then it's probably about to be a situation, right? So in my mind, I think I had a little snapped out a little bit, and I stood up. And in my mind, I was slapping her, right? And then I sat back down, right? Now, I don't know how long that took and what all transpired, but I sat down and I stopped talking because I was arguing with her. And, you know, other white folks in the office running all around. They try to find the manager. White folks running around, right? My friends, my black coworkers that are my friends, they're just sitting there, right? Hoping and praying. I found out later that I didn't hit her because it looked like I was, but I thought better of it, right? And, you know, I just sat down. I don't know what it was, the Holy Spirit, something. I just sat down. I just stopped talking and sat down. Well, they gathered all around. I said, okay, well, I'm fired from this job. You know, I'm just waiting on them to come and say, can you get your wraps, right? And they said, we need to talk to you in the office. So they talked to me in the office. And surprisingly, everyone told the same story. It was not my fault, right? So she ended up getting suspended for 3 days. But I know, because I know how they are. I know how they are. I said, now it's a target on my back. I'm the angry black girl, plus I'm the biggest thing in there. You know, I'm big and black. I said, now it's going to be a target. So I'm going to have to leave this job. And it became, you know, the clear people didn't say anything to me, but it was the way they moved, and it was the energy I felt from them. So it ended up, I had to literally bring my Bible and open it up, Psalms, I believe it was, open it up and set it on my desk, on the corner of my desk, so as they walked past me, the Bible was there protecting me, right? They stopped saying stuff to me, which is what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to leave me alone and stop saying stuff to me, right? Because I don't want to show out. I don't want to go to jail. You know, I've been there before. It's not a nice place. I like my freedom. I'm a free spirit. And I'm too old for that. So I peacefully, it wasn't long when I left, found another job and left. But, you know, the white privilege is real. And like I said, I started noticing it when Trump was in office. And once he got elected, they went bananas. So therefore, when you got people that think they're better than you and they're privileged, they do things that's out of order. Well, they've been assaulting black men. I remember when I was young, and I lived near a park. There's a park around the corner, right? And the guys would come back, they were little boys at the time, would come back and say the police had whooped them, took them to the lake, blah, 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 blah. So this has been going on. It's just escalated, right? Black men, I raised my sons. I have 2. I raised my sons to understand that they have a target on their back, and you need to move differently. You need to move appropriately, right? So at any rate, this all started, and I'm glad this is a movement we're in. This is a movement. This is not nothing that's going to, we're doing this now and it's going to stop. No, this is a movement. We're going to keep going forward with this. We're going to keep going forward until we really have equal rights and they stop killing us. You know, I've been profiled. Now, I'm a woman, right? And I'll never forget this. My son, my youngest son was young. He might have been 9 or something. He was young, right? But he had hair on his face, you know. And he was a big guy. He was short, but he was a big guy, right? He was thick, right? Wasn't fat, he was thick. And he had hair on his face, which if you looked at him, you can clearly tell he was a child, right? So me and my stepdaughter went to, we were going to get him some football stuff. He played sports, right? So we was going out here to get some football stuff. Now, We were, for those of you who are from Cleveland, we were in Macedonia, right? I had never went out there at that time to to do anything. I had no need, right? So we went out there because there was a particular store we needed to go to and get this particular whatever was trying to get. And we go. So as we're leaving out the store, the Macedonian police slowly roll through the parking lot. Now I'm wise. I tell my daughter, let's just go back. Let's go in another store. Let's continue shopping. Because they literally followed us as we come out the store with our bags, real slowly creeping behind us, alongside of us. It was weird. It was creepy, right? In the middle of the day. So she's a hothead. She was the driver. You know how youngins is. I'm going to do what I need to do, blah, blah, blah. See, that's what got y'all messed up now. These youngins ain't having that, right? So we get in the car, and I'm telling her, please don't pull off, because I already know what's going to be. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want none of that, right? I didn't have no license. Hadn't had a license in years, right? So I don't want no problems with these people. I done had problems out in my situations. I don't want nothing. I don't want it, right? I'm the passenger. So they following us. We get in the car and he follows. He's still there. We pull out into the street. Before we can pull out into the street good, he put the lights on. Now I'm thinking, now what done happened? You didn't know who we were walking. You ain't read no plates. We ain't did that. It's 2 women and a child. So when we get, we pull over. We right basically in front of the mall or the little shopping area, right? We pull over and he says whatever he says, license registration. Now, my stepdaughter, she doesn't have her license. She does have her license, but it reads as if it's suspended. But she had her paperwork over the visor, right? So she was like, yeah, it's going to say suspended, but I'm not. I got my papers, da-da-da-da-da, right? She real thorough. She take care of business, right? She has to go back and forth to work. So she had her information. And she was not, the suspension was lifted or whatever the situation was at that time. So I'm sitting there like a stone face looking this way because I don't know I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to look at you. Nothing, right? So she couldn't find it. Now she a little junkie. So she couldn't find it. But she knew she had it. I believed her. I know she got it. I know she handles her business. Couldn't find it. They put us out and said, get your way home. Huh? You gonna put us out? Put us out. Where we going? What we gonna do? No buses run. We don't know. I don't even know where to tell anybody I'm at. This is years ago now. I don't even know how to tell nobody where I'm at. So, okay, she started calling somebody to come get us. And then she kept looking or something. And then she found the paper. And they let us go. But this is the part I missed to tell you. So all while he's talking to us with the looking at us, he kept looking at my son who was in the back seat. His focus was on him. He was talking to her, but his focus was on the back seat. Now, this is what I'm confused about. Why are these people so scared of black men? This is a black boy, that looked like a man, but he was a boy. Why are they so afraid of black men? What is it? Like, come on, right? And we're not taught. We don't teach our kids. I don't know any black person that's taught their kids to hate white folks. I don't know any, but they do. They teach it, because it comes from somewhere, right? We don't teach our kids that, you know what I'm saying? So at any rate, I didn't understand that, but he kept his focus. He kept looking at my son, kept looking at my son. Then he asked him who he was, and that's when I had to intercede and say, hey, look, this is my son. This is a child. He 9, 10, whatever he was, fall back from him, right? And I had to say it in a respectful kind of way, but in my mind, I'm like, why? He's a kid. You can look at his eyes. No matter he got a mustache and all, he's a kid. So at any rate, I've had situations, I grew up in a part of town that was limited when I grew up, how far you can go and how far you can go, right? And so you can go, like anybody that knows, I lived on a street called St. Clair. And when I was younger, there was a line of, invisible line of demarcation. That was from the park, and then you can go up, and you had to stop at 152nd, right? We all knew that. It was unspoken. We knew it, blah, blah, blah. We knew it. Now, some people did live across the park, so you might want to go over there and see your friends. But on that little trek to getting over there, you white folks was going to spit at you, say derogatory stuff. So I remember one time me and my girlfriends, we were all girls, young girls. They threw bottles of cans or something at us. I asked my friend if she remember that. And I was young and I just didn't understand. But we knew we When nobody, we didn't tell anybody, you know, we talked amongst ourselves, but who you gonna tell? This is the way it was. We grew up living like this, right? So at any rate, now we proceed to 2020, and you think you can just kill black men and women at will whenever you feel like it in daylight in front of everybody, which is absurd, and don't have any remorse behind it. I didn't see, you know, what I didn't understand was why you got his knee on his neck, and it was 3 or 4 of y'all. Why you got your knee on his neck? The neck is a pressure point. That's a pressure point, right? You could have put it on his back, you know, you could have did anything but that. You meant to do what you were doing, right? Now, see, you know, I have to say this because I'm a spiritual person. If they don't do anything to him like George Zimmerman, they're gonna live in hell. They're going to live in hell because first of all, them demons inside of you is going to eat you up. That's number one. And God and karma is coming for you. It's coming for you. You know, you can get off on some stuff. You're eventually going to get what you got coming for that, whether it's here or the afterlife. You're going to get that, right? And if it's here, you know, a lot of times I've seen it. A lot of times when folks have done wrong to people, God might not take them right now, but what He'll do is make them they'll die a miserable death, a long miserable death. You know what I'm saying? Or they catch hell all while they're on earth. You know, you just can't do stuff like that to people and then you know, expect to just skip on with your life. That's not gonna happen. And whether you believe in whatever you believe in, it's just not gonna happen. The universe is not gonna allow that. You know, but I'm glad. Again, let me get back to the movement. I'm glad that we now have a movement. Okay, we have a movement, and I'm so happy to see everyone uniting. Who would have thought? Black folks in Minnesota, You know, I'd expect that from some other place. But Minnesota, them Negroes said, we're not having that. You know, I didn't even know there was that many black folks. I might sound dumb, but I didn't know they was like that in Minnesota. So, you know, I'm glad that we stood up, you know, and I often think like, I'm here in the Carolinas, right? And I'm older now, but would I have participated? You know, I don't know anybody, you know, down here. I don't know where they be at or what they doing, right? But in Cleveland, I knew in Cleveland where they were that it was going to turn to that. I knew that. And I had friends that were live streaming it, and where it was supposed to be, it ended up being a block down, like right in front of the Justice Center. I knew because something happened. I can't remember what it was, but I remember they had snipers on the roofs. And I knew that these particular kind of folks, it was going to be some conflict. And it was. It was going to be some conflict. But see, what happens is when you treat people like animals, they act like animals. So if you don't think no value for our life, we don't have no value for your stuff. You know, real simple. It's real simple. You can't just do what you want to do to people and think there's not going to be any repercussions and consequences and circumstances, because it is, right? It is. And, you know, I don't want a little lengthy on what I'm talking about, but I just wanted to share, you know, these experiences are nothing new. Not true. I don't know anybody that's been killed, but I know people that have been hurt. Growing up, I've seen it all my life. You know, there were certain areas you couldn't go. Certain areas you just couldn't go, right? We knew that. Wasn't no big deal. We ain't going. You don't want us, we ain't going, right? But now all that has to stop. We have to be able to move freely without someone trying to kill us. Like, what is the killing? What is that? You know, you're a police officer. You know, they taught us when we was little, Officer Friendly. Remember him? Where he go? Where he at? Officer Friendly, right? So, you know, I just think this is time. It's time, and I'm glad that we started the movement, you know. And let me tell you one other thing. I kept watching this video with George Floyd and his daughter, and he would tell her, Daddy gonna change the world. Daddy is going to change the world. Do you know how prophetic that is? Because he has changed the world. You know, he had to lose his life. You know, he's now a martyr. But the fact that he said that is very prophetic. And anybody that believes in the higher power, spiritual world, whatever, that's something. That's really deep. You know, he always told his daughter, Daddy gonna change the world. Daddy gonna change the world. And George Floyd, we applaud you. We're all saddened that you're not here, but this time has come, because you know you can't. So you know, we're in a pandemic. First of all, we're in a pandemic. Let's not forget that we're in a pandemic. So people's mental illness and mental energies, like I told you guys before, you know, it does stuff to you. So you in the house. A lot of people going out and all that. That's fine for them. We'll talk about that another day. But people for the most part are in. You living differently. You got to have on a mask. You can't breathe. You got to have your gloves on. I know people not wearing gloves, but I'm wearing gloves because people, it's too, you can't, hands is the way to disease. So wear your gloves so you don't be touching everything, right? And, you know, we're already in a pandemic. We're already in an altered state of mind from this. And then you do this, you kill a black man openly in the middle of the day. Whether it was in the middle of the night, nobody saw. You killed a black man for no reason. And it was violent for everybody to see, right? So now you got that. You compound that on top of the pandemic that we're living in. You know, folks done gone crazy. Y'all see that. Folks went crazy, you know, and that's just what happened. You know, we're tired. You know, we've been tired. You know, we've been going along to get along. We're tired. And this generation of black folks, first of all, my generation, we're not like our grandparents. You know, that's why I almost slapped shit out that lady at my job, and until I thought better of it because I didn't want to go to jail. But we're not our grandparents. We're not our great-grandparents. We're not just going to sit around and let you beat us, stomp us, kick us, kill us, and not say nothing. There's repercussions behind that. And social media has opened the door for the world to see. So now you can't do it, and you can't hide and do it. You can't do it in silence. You know, the world is going to see all this bull that y'all doing. Okay, so it's out here. It's open. Now we need progress. We need some legislation change, some laws change. We need a lot of change now. So applaud that they did charge the other 4 officers, how many it was. They did charge them. Okay, they all need to be charged with murder. That when they initially said 3rd degree manslaughter, murder, whatever they said, I had never heard of it. A lot of my friends, we never heard of that. What is that, right? So I'm glad that the rioting and the protesting affected change for that. But we haven't won. We're not stopping. It has to go on and on and on. And I'm still seeing on social media of police officers still being brutal to people. You know, so I don't know if they don't care. Or I don't know what's going on, you know, because what I do know is this pandemic, as well as this Black Lives Matter movement, is showing us who people really are, you know. And Black Lives Matter. So we're not saying no other lives don't matter. We're saying Black Lives Matter. And when I get on social media, excuse me, and somebody says, well, all lives matter. Yes, they do. But right now we're talking about us. Okay, so if my house get on fire, your house is not on fire, and I call the fireman, I need the fireman. You don't. That's where we at now. We need change. We need it right now. Yes, all lives matter. Black lives matter right now. Nobody never cared but us. Black lives matter right now. It's sad. You know, we're an embarrassment all over the world. We look like, and then you got this guy in office. I don't even like saying his name because he's such an idiot. Like, I'm trying to figure out that the people of power that put him in that position, because we didn't. You know what I'm saying? The people that put him in that position, the machine that was gaslighting him. How do they feel now after seeing this guy as a real idiot? He's an idiot. Like, you don't know anything. You don't know. You don't have no diplomacy. You have no diplomacy. You're not presidential at all. Like, sometimes you can just shut up, you know, and then we won't know that you that stupid. But once you open your mouth, then everybody knows, right? And for the life of me, you know, I know that them people will cut their nose off to spite their face, right? But we have to vote. We have to vote. And yes, it's important to vote for the president, but it's even more important to vote for the lawmakers and the legislation. You know, people in the House, the Senate, the judges, the law. You know, it's important to vote for those people because those are the people that's holding up all this bull. All the stuff that's wrong and being done and they're not doing nothing about it, those are the people, right? So it's important that we vote. It's important that we be mindful of how we move. It's important that we try not to spend money with them, right? You know, we're going to try to what's the word I want to say? Raise up our black businesses, right? And support black businesses. But on the other hand, black businesses, you have something to do too. You have to give us good product and good customer service. You know, we all in this together, and we can do this. We can win. We can win. We could have never had a Black Wall Street if we weren't winners. We are winners. We just need to tap into our winning spirit. We need to tap into our winning spirit. We are winners. We are kings. We are queens. We are everything if we put our mind to it. That's why they're afraid of us. That's why they don't want us to grow and prosper. We were born winners, okay? Got to know your heart. You got to know who you are on the inside. And quit letting people tell you who you are. You have to know who you are, okay? I really didn't even, I had my little sheet, right? I really didn't even talk about what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to talk about it in my next video because it's a lot to cover, right? And I didn't want to be selfish and talk about myself and without talking about the current events. I'm a really pro-Black kind of person, always have been, right? And I always told my friends and family that it's us and then it's them. Now, it doesn't matter your economical status. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. None of that matters to them, right? Because you are a us, right? So everybody needs to get on board and at least stop patronizing so much. Yes, all lives matter, but right now we're talking about Black lives matter because we're the ones getting killed. All lives do matter. Absolutely, they matter. But right now, we're talking about Black lives matter. Okay, guys? All right, guys. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I want you guys to give me some feedback on this. Make sure you like and subscribe and drop down in the comments and let me know what you're thinking, what we want to talk about. I still got my list, right? So I'll be talking about this till I finish with my list, because it's very, it weighed heavy on me. It weighed heavy on me and it saddened me, right? So even though I have been doing videos, I couldn't. I just physically couldn't. I was saddened by it. And there was a while where I was looking at CNN every day. And I had stopped really watching the news once that guy was in office because I just didn't want to see the foolery. I just didn't want to see it. I found out about it on social media or BET or somewhere. I just didn't want to see it, right? And I had started watching CNN and MSNBC, for that week. And I have stopped watching it now because we have gotten a little bit of change. Just a little bit, not much, just a little bit, right? But, if I'm on social media and somebody say, watch such, go to such, then I'll go to it. But I really don't want to be inundated with that because it'll mess with my mind, right? And, I need my mind for some other stuff, right? I need my mind to make it through life. I need my mind to get me through this pandemic that we're in. This is a creepy time. This is spooky. If anybody don't think this spooky, there's something wrong with you. I know everybody out at the bars and all that. I'm just saying, this ain't over because they said it's over. Shit, I know people still dying, still catching it. So, we'll talk about that another time. Right now, we're talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and how we're going to move forward as a people. And right on. Talk to you guys tomorrow.